Okay, so since it's the custom to start any proceeding here at International Institute of Theravada, starting reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. So let's just start paying homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. If you are not a Buddhist, you can skip this session, which will take only few seconds. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Welcome everyone, and today is the first class. I'm really happy to meet you all here. First, I would like to introduce myself. I'm one of the co-teachers of this Pāli course. My name is Sumedha Loka. I think you can see. It's all right you forget my name because my name is a little bit longer than others. Okay, you can call me Bhante as a general term. You can call me, address me, or any other monk using the term Bhante, which is a Pāli word. Bhante, it's a Pāli word. First of all, I would like to thank few people before we start our lecture. I would like to thank one of my friends from America who invited me to conduct this class. So first of all, I would like to offer my heartfelt gratitude for my friend inviting me to conduct this class. And secondly, I would like to thank Venerable Bhante Maggavihari for asking me to conduct this class and making it available for each and everyone. So my heartfelt gratitude for Venerable Bhante Maggavihari for arranging this. And also I would like to thank our technical team who is helping us all the time. And first of all, I would like to thank Venerable for arranging this. And right from the get-go, he's helping me with all his assistance. And also, huge thank you to everyone in our technical group. And also our head president of our institution, Bhante Devananda, for giving me encouragement all the time. And why not start with the Pāli word again? Let's start with the Pāli word. Pāli word for welcome, to welcome. Can you read this one? This is Swagatam in Pāli, which means welcome in Pāli. So with this, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome all of you, whoever you are, wherever you are from the world. You're welcome to learn with us. I'm happy to serve you as the teacher of this course and to have you as my students from all corners of the world. A little note about our course and the structure of our course. So every day, within 45 minutes, I would like to wrap up everything I want to say about the subject material I'm preparing. And after that, there will be a little 15 minutes Q&A session. You can ask questions at that time. Make sure you type your question before asking any question, because we have sometimes internet connection problems. So it's always better for you to ask the question after you typed the question. So make sure that you type every time. And after that, there will be a little extended period of reviewing the exercise. This is the structure that we use every day. This is the template for the course, so to speak. Okay. In today's lecture, I would like to give you background about what is the meaning of the word Pāli. And also, I would like to introduce you to the Pāli alphabet, and also the pronunciation, and also the parts of speech, and also some other grammatical aspects such as gender, case, number, and finally we are going to talk about R stem nouns or declensions of R stem nouns. Okay, so first of all, as you can see in the lecture note given to you, what does the word Pāli mean? Let me remind you how you ended up being in this class. A few days ago, we shared a post saying that IIT Pāli classes will be starting on today, and you somehow received that post. And the first impression that you got out of reading that note or the post is that this is something about a language. It's a language course. So this is the first usage of the word Pāli in the modern day. So by Pāli, we understand it's a language. So it's an abbreviation for compound word Pāli Bhasa. Pāli Bhasa. Bhasa means the language in Pāli, and the name is Pāli Bhasa, language of Pāli. I know a few Indonesian students as well here joining here. And in Indonesia, they refer their language as Bahasa Indonesia. So this is much more familiar for Indonesian students. Okay, and this is not true when we go back in the history. The word Pāli, which was not used for denote a language, but it was used to refer something else. What was it? When we examine the exegetical works or commentarial works, commentators used this word only to denote the teaching of the Buddha, not to denote a language, but they use it to denote entire teaching of the Buddha. So in that sense, Pāli is an umbrella term to signify text, sacred text, or the Tripitaka. Okay, this is the simple meaning that you can get out of understanding the word Pāli. Okay, so I just want to give you a little motivation to be in the course and move forward in the course. First of all, my preceptor used to give this advice all the time, so I thought it is really beneficial for you if you are joining and wanting to continue this course. This is a kind of a motivation. He used to say, being a remarkable person in terms of his practice and in terms of his memory, he used to say, there are 4 things in the world should be done at a slow pace, slowly by slowly. So this is a kind of a thing that you have to remember all throughout this course if you want to continue throughout this course. What are these 4 things? Let me write it down for you. These are the 4 things that should be done at a slow pace, or slowly by slowly you have to do these things. Learning a language or learning procedure or learning anything should be done at a slow pace. If you speed up this process, you won't be able to successful. So learning Pāli, this applies to learning Pāli especially because Pāli is not a spoken language, it's an ancient language. If you want to be successful in this journey, you have to remember this kind of like a mantra all the time. Whenever you get bored, you don't have the motivation to go forward, what you have to remember is that you have to always think that this should be carried out slowly by slowly, one step at a time. So learning should be done in a way very slowly, and also the meditation. If you speed up this procedure, you won't be able to successful. This is the same with climbing a mountain. Also, this is same with swimming. So I just want to say again, repeat this one again, make sure you have this mantra all the time, because people start learning languages and at some point they would stop because they are discouraged. There are a lot of grammar to follow and there are a lot of vocabulary to memorize. So many people, they don't enjoy learning language. So Pāli is a difficult language. It is not that difficult as you might think, but it's a difficult language, but one of the beautiful languages in the world, ancient world I mean. So if you need to be fluent in this language, what you have to do is, you have to do same thing that I'm asking you to do. You have to do the homework. If you are thinking about skipping the homework and still trying to follow the course, this is not the right place. You came to the wrong place. So every day after the lecture, I'll be giving some homework to be done. And you have to submit homework just before one day before we start the next class. So you have to do this. I may sound like a tough teacher, but that's the only way that I can make sure that you are progressing throughout the course. So let's get back to our lecture about the Pāli alphabet or the sound system of Pāli language. Again, Pāli is a phonetic language. It's not like English language. The sound system, arrangement of the sound system in Pāli is done by means of phonetic system. So the grammarians of Pāli language, they used a phonetic system to organize the letters. So the grammarians, principles that they used are simply two principles to consider. Arrangement of the Pāli sounds, let's say sounds. So we have vowels. So two principles are, they are organized or listed according to simple to complex order. I'll be explaining this complex order and also back to front order. These are the two principles that govern for organizing alphabetical sounds in Pāli language. Back to front order. Okay. What I meant by simple to complex order, in Pāli alphabet, vowels come first. What are the Pāli vowels? There are 8 vowels in Pāli language, and within themselves also. First comes vowels, I forgot to tell it. What I mean by simple to complex order, vowel come first and consonants come second. And within the vowels also, they follow this simple to complex order. What I meant by simple to complex, you can understand by analyzing this e, u, u. So is a simple vowel, and is the longer version, e is the short vowel, and e is the longer version, so to speak long vowel, and u is the simple vowel, u is the long vowel. So there are e, u, 6 vowels. What are the rest? A and o. These are called simple vowels. Then come complex vowels. Okay, so A and O, little note on A and O. A and O are called diphthongs. They are combination of 2 vowel sounds, 2 vowel letters. Okay, and the dictionary order is given here. Even in the textbook you can find this one. The second principle is that back to front order. They are organized according to back to front order. What I mean by back to front order, the position they are generated in your mouth. Is a guttural sound. If you try to pronounce these letters, e, u, A and O. You can see you start from the back of your mouth, the sound moves toward to the front of your mouth. So they are organized according to that principle, linguistic principle of where the sounds are articulated in your mouth. Okay, this is what you have to know about vowels. Okay, next up is consonants. Consonants. There are 33 consonants in Pāli language. Let's go to the lecture note in order to get a good look at. Okay, I forgot to tell you this, how to read the following words in Pāli. So, how to read this one? Can you see the board clearly? Metta. This is pronounced as Seti, and this one is Okkamati, and this is Yottam. So the principle to pronounce this sound is A and O. Sometimes they are pronounced as short vowels, and sometimes they are pronounced as long vowels. So in order to pronounce them really correctly, you have to know where to pronounce them short and where to pronounce them long. At the end of a syllable, as in lobo here, lobo, a word for passion, craving, lobo. So this is a syllable, and this is the second syllable. If it occurs at the end of a syllable, O should be pronounced as long vowel. Okay, whereas if it is occurred before an ending consonant of a syllable, so this is the first syllable, met is the first syllable, and you can see it appears before the consonant of this syllable. So A should be pronounced as short here because it appears within a syllable followed by a consonant. Here it should be shortened. That means short, it should be pronounced short. And also kottako here, the same rule applies here. You can see O should be pronounced O, kottako, not kotako. We can't pronounce like that. So the same rule applies here. So here also you can see A should be long, pronounced long. So it should be pronounced as echo, not echo. So you have to memorize this syllable. So the traditional way of understanding this one, in traditional grammar we say, let's say metta, let's say this example, metta. Traditional way, we understand that before a conjunct consonant, A should be pronounced as a short vowel. So echo before a consonant, or when it is not a double consonant. Color, okay, it's not clear. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't notice that. Okay, so echo here, there's no double consonant here, so it should be pronounced as a long vowel. Okay, that is all I have to say about vowels. Let's get to consonants in Pāli language. Okay, there are 33 consonants, and they are divided according to by means of place. Also, I told you there are two principles. They are listed according to simple to complex order, and also the place where they are articulated. So two principles here also. So we call group ka, like in English you can find group A or something like that. We say group ka sound because it starts from ka. Here, ka. I think this color Is it okay? Okay. So ka. This is these are called stops or vagga in Pāli. Stops or vagga, because if you want to pronounce these sounds, you have to stop the air in some part of your mouth. So that's why they are called stops or vaggas. Whereas vowels, you don't have to do this one. Okay, so let's start going from left to right. Ka, and this is called aspirate. You need to add puff of air to pronounce this. Puff of air coming from the chest. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. Okay, I'll cover semivowels afterwards. And then these are called palatal sounds, starting from cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Third one called cerebrals or retroflex sounds, ta, tha, da, dha, na. And the dental sounds, ta, tha, da, dha, na. And at last we have labials, pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. Okay, so now I will give you some tips to how to pronounce these sounds. So these are also called velar sounds, meaning that they are pronounced at back tip of the mouth, so guttural area. So ka should be pronounced, it's a voiceless sound, meaning that it is not a voiced consonant. That what I meant by voiced consonant is that when you want to observe, as you pronounce a consonant, if you need to observe the sound, you can put your finger at your throat. When you pronounce that sound, if the vocal cords are vibrating, you can understand that consonant is a voiced consonant. When you pronounce K sound or ka sound, your vocal cord is not vibrating. So it is called voiceless sound. And also, when you pronounce ka sound, it is also called a voiceless sound. So, but whereas this one, if you need to pronounce this ga sound, when you pronounce the ga sound, your vocal cord vibrates. So this is called voice sound. And even ga and nga, all are called voice sounds. That you have to remember. But you don't have to memorize these things, because these things will be really beneficial for you as we move forward in the coming lessons also. We'll be talking this again and again. Don't be confused with this information overload, but we'll be talking this again and again. This will be really easy for you. Again, palatal sounds are pronounced by touching the middle part of the tongue, touching the palate or the roof of the mouth. So cha, this is the aspirate sound. You have to add a puff of air. So cha, ja, jha, nya. And the cerebral sounds, these are pronounced by retroflecting or curling your tongue and hitting the tongue at the top of your mouth. Ta, tha, dha, dha, na. And dental sound, I think according to my experience, this group is the most misunderstood group by the Western world. So ta, when you want to pronounce this kind of sound, you have to stop the air, or you have to put your tongue at the very tips of your teeth. This is how you pronounce ta, tha, da, dha, na. This is I mean, for Western people, they pronounce this dental sound as retroflex sound in Pāli. When they want to pronounce Pāli, for example, when you want to pronounce metta, they would say metta, rather than saying metta. So dental sounds should be pronounced as dentals always. And the labial sounds pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. Again, we have semi-vowels meaning ya, and we have ra, and we have la, and we have la, two versions of la, and va sound, and also a sibilant called s sound. And also this is called aspirate, ha. So altogether we have 33 consonants, and also we have something called pionasal, which is written like this. Also in some books you can find this one like this, M upper dot or M under dot. So these are called semivowels. Why? They act as, sometimes they act as vowels and sometimes they act as consonants. So that you have to remember. So moving on to the next point in our lecture. So how to classify these sounds? So classification is always interesting, and if you need to know more about these sounds, this is the traditional way of categorizing these sounds. Are considered to be guttural sound. All group ka sound, that means ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, are considered to be guttural sounds. And also ha, the aspirate, should be also pronounced as a guttural sound. Also e and e, short e and long e, with all group cha sound. What are group cha sound? They are palatal sounds, cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. All these sounds should be considered as palatal sounds. You have to make palatal sounds in order to pronounce it correctly. And also ja sound should be considered as palatal sound. And then comes the cerebral sounds. All group ta sounds, they are ta, tha, da, dha, na, and also ra and la are considered as cerebral sounds. And also dental sounds. What are dental sounds? If we understand here, if you go to this paragraph, you can see ta, th, dha, dha, na, and la and sa are considered as dental sounds. What are labial sounds? And yes, a little note on gutturopalatal sounds. A should be pronounced as gutturopalatal, which means it should be pronounced at the same time with your gutter area and the palate area. And also guttural labial sound. O is a guttural labial sound, and V or va sound should be pronounced as dental cerebral sound. Okay. So the comparison of parts of speech in English, there are 8 parts of speech, such as nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, conjugations, interjections, and prepositions. This graph tells you how Pāli grammarians, traditional Pāli grammarians, how they categorize these various grammatical aspects. For example, nouns, pronouns, and adjectives are categorized under the name, grammatical term, nama or nominal forms. When it comes to verbs, they are treated as akyata. The term used as akyata, that means verb, it is the same as in English. And adverbs, conjugations, and interjections are treated as nipata, what we call nipata in Pāli. They are in declinables. If you don't understand the word in declinables, you will when we continue our lectures. And prepositions are considered as prefixes in English if you compare them. So what I want to say next is really important. Very important fact. It is that Pāli is a highly inflected language. What I meant by this, each Pāli word, if you understand closely, you can find Pāli is an highly inflected language. What I meant by highly inflected language, at ending, if you closely look at the end of a Pāli word, you can think of it as a word with a flexible end. It always has a flexible end. You can change the meaning of a word by changing its end. So where to look for, if you want to understand any Pāli word, the place to look for is the end of a Pāli word. So in English, you can see inflection happens all the time. So if you throw an S at the end of word book, what happens? Meaning changes. What happens is that you understand there are not one, there are two or more things. So this is the magic of inflection. This is how you understand inflection. Inflection distinguishes case, gender, mood, voice, and so many other grammatical aspects. Okay, let's go to explain these three aspects. So grammatical gender, this is loosely connected with the biological gender. In Pāli, grammatical gender is a really important thing. So what is meant by grammatical gender? Pāli has three grammatical genders, as in English: masculine, feminine, and neuter. Grammatical gender is loosely connected with biological gender, but grammatical gender and biological gender overlap in English language, but in Pāli language they do not necessarily overlap. What I meant by that, because in Pāli language there are things, if you need to know about the Pāli words of masculine, it's called pullinga, and feminine called ithilinga, and neuter is called napunsakalinga. For example, I want to give you some example differences in grammatical gender. Let's say all the masculine things, you can, as a rule of thumb, you can think all the masculine things can be masculine gender, and all the feminine things can be in feminine gender, and all the inanimate things and also abstract concepts can be considered as neuter gender, but this is not so. Sometimes you may find, let's for example, rukka, word rukka to mean tree in Pāli, it is masculine. So it is not so all the time. What I told you is not true all the time. For example, ratti, the word ratti to denote night, it's in feminine gender. How do I know this? You can analyze the ending, but you don't know at this point. You will be able to know this as we move on. And also something like, let's say for chitta, chitta is a neuter gender. It's a neuter. So this is not all time true. So we come to know about the case. Grammatical case refers to the relation that one word has to another in a sentence. In other words, noun plays different roles in sentences. I can give you examples. For example, I can say the book is on the table. And also, can I go to this one? Yes. The book is on the table. The child plays with the book. So if you understand this one, the book is on the table. We understand the book is the subject, and child plays with the book. Here, plays with the book. Book becomes the instrument with which child plays. This is in instrumental case. So in English marks these roles that a noun plays in a sentence using two principles. They are using prepositions. By using prepositions, as in the example, you can see in the lecture note that I came with him. In that example, with marks the instrumental case, and the second one, John is going to the city. In this example, we can say goal of action is marked here to the city. This is another case which is called accusative case. And also in English, for example, the man hits the car. There are no inflected words except the hits. The man hits the car. If you understand this one, there's no sense of subject or object using the inflection, but the word order gives us the idea of this is the subject and this is the object. The man is the subject here and the car is the object of the first sentence. And the second sentence, the car is the man. If you swap the subject and object, you have a different meaning here. So in English uses prepositions and also word order to denote the grammatical aspect called case. But this is not true in Pāli language. Pāli language, we use case endings. In Pāli language, case endings are really important. We use case ending to denote the same thing that prepositions and also the word order do in English language. Okay, let's try to understand this one. And also we have 8 cases in Pāli. It is given in the lecture note. You can see nominative case, accusative case, and instrumental case, dative and ablative. So let's understand the nominative case. So the nominative case, the Patama Vibhakti we call in Pāli, nominative case, it is used for show the subject of a sentence. I think I'm running out of time today, but I just need to wrap things up with introducing you to the declension of R stem nouns. In Pāli, if nothing else went to your head up until now, this is the main takeaway from today's lecture. Don't worry about if you don't understand anything which I mentioned, because I was in hurry also, since today is the introduction lesson and this is the first time I'm doing online class in this level. Sometimes I feel I'm not confident to explain these grammatical things. If you don't understand anything what I told, I beg your pardon. Could you all please turn to the page number 6 in the lecture note, page number 6, and I'll also be writing on the board. If you don't have the lecture note with you, you can also look at what I'm writing on the board. So in Pāli, today we are going to introduce you to the declension of R stem nouns. If you don't understand anything up until now, don't worry. Please focus on this. This is really important and crucial to do the exercise in the first lesson. Okay, noun equals, you have to remember this formula in order to do the exercise in the lesson 1. Noun equals stem plus case ending. Please memorize this formula in order to do the exercises in the first lesson in your textbook. Noun equals stem or case ending. I told you Pāli has inflected endings. That means Pāli is a highly inflected language. Stem is the grammatical form without a case ending. As in example, if you take English example, it's like book is the base word, and if you want to say books in English, this is the inflected part of that verb. So if you drop this one, book becomes the basic or the base or the stem of that noun. As in the same way, in Pāli, let's say Nara is the stem, and to which we add the case ending O. So these case endings can be 8 case endings: nominative case endings and accusative case endings, and also instrumental case endings and ablative case endings, genitive case endings, locative case endings. I will be explaining these in a minute. What you have to understand is they have singular form and plural form, and these all grammatical aspects are denoted by using ending at the end. So for nominative singular, we add O at the end. For nominative singular, we add O, but for the nominative plural, you add R at the end. For the nominative case, which act as a subject of a word, so O is the singular form and R is the plural form. So there's a little rule that you have to remember. In order to form this, there's a little thing called sandhi happening, which we will be covering in the lessons to come. What you have to understand is that before a vowel, this is the ending vowel, this is the starting vowel, let's say, but there are other ways to explain this. This is the ending vowel. Also you can say this is the ending vowel of the noun or the stem. Okay, this is the case ending. I want to write it here, maybe because this is not clear for you. So before a vowel, ending vowel of the stem should be dropped, elided. So you have nar, and it should be connected with the vowel, case ending vowel, then it becomes naro. Okay, this is the nominative singular, meaning man. Okay, let's go to the plural. Let's go to the plural. Nara is the stem. Okay, it doesn't have any meaning yet, but if we add R, nominative plural, and we have to drop the end vowel of the ending vowel of the stem, and this becomes nara. This becomes nara, meaning men. So naro means man, nara means men. Okay, this is for the nominative case. Let's go to the accusative case, which acted as the direct object of a word. Direct object is of a verb. So the case ending for accusative singular, what we have to do is we have to write the stem first, and then comes in your lecture note, you can find is a hyphen in front. That means it should be connected to a stem. That's the meaning of the hyphen coming first. So what you have to do is you have to drop the ending vowel of the stem, and then it becomes naram. Naram, which means man as and accusative. Yeah, it's really difficult to put a dot here. Okay, this meaning is man as an accusative singular. So the accusative plural is nara is the stem, and a is the accusative plural ending. So what you have to do is you have to drop the ending vowel, and then it becomes nare, meaning men as a direct object. Like I gave food to men. This is the accusative singular. So, accusative plural. Then go to the instrumental case. Instrumental case, and we have ena as the ending, and the nara is the stem, to which we add the case ending ena, narena, narena, narena. So what happens here, we have to drop the ending vowel of the stem, and then we connect, then it becomes narena. With man, you can't use articles. It is mentioned in the lecture note, narena, with man, or either you can say with a man. That's not wrong actually, but in order to translate it to English, you have to use an article, but this is not the case in Pāli. You can't have articles in Pāli. And the plural of this one is na. We have two forms here. We have two forms. We had nara, and we had ehi, and also abhi. So what happens here, we have to drop the ending vowel of the stem, and we connect, then we get narehi and narebi. This is the instrumental case of a plural, instrumental plural. And then we get dative case. Now I use, because I want to save my time here today, so I will go to the lecture note, and you can see the dative case singular case ending would be aya and asya. If you drop the let's say nara and then aya, what happens is, it's not working now. Aya, right? We'll drop this one, and then it becomes naraya and narasa. And same thing happens here, nara, and then anam. What we have to do is dropping the ending vowel and connecting results in naranam. And for the ablative case, we have nara, naramha, and narasma. Three forms which give the same meaning: nara, naramha, narasma. I think it's familiar for you to how to make these forms now. Narehi, narebi. If you don't understand, I will be explaining this in the Q&A session. And for the genitive case, you have narasa and naranam, which is the same with dative case. And we have locative case, nare, naramhi, narasming, naresu. At last we have vocative case, nara, nara, and nara. A vocative case is used to address someone. Okay, I think I am running out of time. If you have any question, this is the time that you can answer questions. But before you answer questions, I must say something, because this is the introductory lesson. I think I couldn't rehearse since I was really busy with some other works, and I was not actually comfortable with the board. I'm getting used to it. This smart board, which is a new donation in our institution. If you really don't get anything, please let me know, because I need your feedback. I'm the one who's responsible for any mistakes today which occurred in the lectures. And if you have any questions, you feel free to ask any questions. Our technical team would support me with any questions raised.
Hello everyone, and thank you very much, Bante Sumedaloka, for your wonderful teaching, and it was a very interesting lecture, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. Sorry for the inconveniences that sometimes we have difficulties in drop downs of the internet connection. So there were a few questions that were raised in the chat box. So one is someone asked the difference between declinables and indeclinables. So that's the first question that we have to answer. Before that, I would also like to encourage all the participants that some of you may have thought that the lecture was quite faster, but actually the teacher has already provided the material, and the ones who were not registered, please leave your email addresses in the chat box, and we would help you to get into it. And also there is a WhatsApp, I think a messenger group, right? So there is a social media app that you can also join in. And also we also would like to mention that these case endings and genders and everything will be more and more clear to you with the lectures. This is an introduction, so don't be discouraged because it was a introduction lecture and teacher had to cover a certain area because we have a specific plan of concluding the lectures at a specific time. So in future you will get more and more clarity with the lectures. So Bante Sumedaloka, the first question that one has asked is, please explain the difference between declinables and indeclinables for a beginner.
I think it's for a beginner. So let me go to the lecture note here, where I discussed what are declinables and indeclinables. Yeah. So let's go for example like sigang. So this is an example sentence where I can show you declinable along with the indeclinable. So is a Pāli word to give the sense of he sigang gacchati. He goes fast, right? So fast, which denotes sigang, is called as indeclinable. So this cannot be declined in any case. This would stand all the time like this, as it is in a Pāli sentence, wherever it falls in any sentence. But whereas so can be declined, like I can make this sentence as te sigang gacchanti. Okay, here this is the plural version of he, that means they go fast. They go fast. So sigang is an indeclinable, whereas so and also the verb can be declined. We call it conjugations, but here also the changes occur in verbs also. But here this adverb is not changed in these two examples. I think this is clear for you. If you have any questions, you can raise.
Yeah, so Bhante was mentioning that if indeclinable, the ending never changes, but if a declinable, the ending of the word changes according to under certain contexts. Thank you, Bhante, for your answer. And another question is, someone would like to know the difference, like briefly, the difference between the root, the stem, and the case ending. So if you could please give us an example.
Yeah, that's a good question. Could you please read the question again? I forgot the stem.
So it's like the difference between the root, the stem, and the case ending. So maybe you have to take two examples.
Okay.
Maybe one verb and one noun.
Okay.
Like.
I'll take this same example that I took to decline the nouns nara and o, and gam is the root for word gacchati. Okay. This is called nominal stem. Nominal stem or nominal base, to which the case endings are added. So a form without any case ending added to it is called a nominal base or nominal stem. Whereas this is the same idea in a verb. If we break a verb into its component materials, we get a root and a conjugational sign and also a case ending. In this case, it's a verbal case ending. Here, it's a nominal case ending, and here, it's a verbal case ending. The crude form of a noun is called a base or a stem, and crude form of a verb is called a root, where two things are added. But whereas in nouns, only case endings are added to a stem, but in a verb, a conjugation, most of the time, a conjugational sign and a case ending, verbal case ending, but two things are added to a verb.
Yeah, thank you for your answer, Bhante. And one student want to know exactly which book we are referring to. Could you please write it on the board, the name of the book and the author?
As a textbook, or may I know?
As a textbook.
Yeah. New Pāli course, part 1, written by Buddha Datta Thera.
I think it should be AP Buddha Datta.
Okay. This is the book that we are using for the first level of our course.
So another question has been posted. Someone asked the question, Dear Bhante, I have a question. In English, we have the article the or the to refer to a specific thing or person we are referring to. However, in Pāli, there is no such an article. Hence, how do we show specificity in Pāli language?
I think the notion in English, when you are accustomed to see things in a way that in English has, your mind is accustomed. This is my short answer. But I'm not denying you that when you are translating Pāli sentences into English, you can always have an article if you prefer to do so. But the article, the sense of article or the grammatical aspect of article never really happen in Pali language? That's my short answer, because you normally get used to Pali language without using any article at all, but you understand the sense of a word. So in English language you can see there's no rule. What you have to know is that there's no rule that there should be an article to understand the sense that a sentence gives. Even without an article, you can understand the idea that it says.
Okay, so thank you. And also they sometimes use that so, they, right? Even sometimes
yes. Like also we have, instead of articles, what you have to remember is that the function of article can be achieved by such demonstrative pronouns and also numerals. We have two aspects, but we can't call them as an articles. That's the problem, because they are different. They belong to different categories, but they give the sense of an article, but they cannot be called as an article. So that grammatical aspect, the idea is in Pali, but we cannot call them as articles. That's the problem, according to my opinion.
Okay, thank you for your answer, Bante. And also I would like to inform the participants that the book, the new Pali course, can be downloaded. I think the link has been already shared in the chat box, and it is available in, for example, in Sri Lanka, in bookshops, especially in the Buddhist Cultural Center in Tumulla. But and also in some other countries also, the book is available. I'm not very sure whether the book can be downloaded from Amazon or any other platform. So would suggest that if someone is unable to get the hard copy, you can also refer to the soft copy, and the link has been already shared in the chat box. I think in India, most probably it will be possible to buy. I think so, because some have posted this question. So, and also there is a question by the audience that some were unable to join and some were late. So for the participants, is there a way that they can listen to the lecture? So please, could you please explain it to the audience?
Yes, I mean this video, the lecture is being lively recorded and is stored in our Zoom cloud, and we'll be giving a link to watch that video afterwards if you miss any lecture. So what you can do is like send us a WhatsApp message or any other Telegram message or something like that, and our team would provide you a link with a passcode to access that video file, whereby you can watch and review and make sure that you don't post it anywhere, but in that way you'll accomplish that task as well.
And also people are asking how can they join, or how can they instruct someone else to join or to get registered? Could you please explain?
Yes, there's a Google form which we posted a few days ago, and if someone wants it, they can be found on our website as well, I think, yes, and also our Facebook as well. And also you can send me a direct message where I would be able to send it to you personally.
And also some are asking how can they join into the social media group like WhatsApp or Messenger. Could you please also explain about it?
Yes, in the Google form you can find a link whereby you can join our Telegram Telegram Pali group. But if you want to join the WhatsApp group, which is quite becomes quite complicated right now, but you can send me a direct link. I'll write my is it okay for me to write down my phone number? +94 77 0 11 3040. Okay, you can send me a WhatsApp message saying mentioning your name and that you want to join the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, so for the last question for the day, actually one is one inquiry, like will there be any homework for the next week, and have you shared it? Someone was asking.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Is there any homework for the next week, and have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. you have to do the homework in the beginning of the first lesson in the textbook, which is the new Pāli course part 1. Try to do it, but if you feel really difficult and the abstract and you don't get the point or something like that, leave those questions apart and do the easy one, but make sure you submit your homework before our next lecture starts.
Okay, so the final question was posted, like the question was asked. Now someone has asked, so root nearly means bare form of the words in English, and case endings looks like the plural form, adjectives, nouns, and possessions. To add something to this question, like root is always related to verbs. The very basic word of a part of a root is a verb, and there are some nouns that are also created by words, roots, constructed by roots, and Bhante will explain them in the due course, that how different it is. So we would appreciate if you could please explain what a root is again, because I think some have misunderstood, and the difference of a root and a case. Could you please explain it again?
Root and a case. So I'll write down the formula in English first in order to get a better understanding about this one. So nominal base, which is also called nominal stem, plus case ending here. Also I have to add an adjective, nominal case ending, because there are two case endings, two versions of case endings in Pāli. One is nominal case ending and the second one is verbal case ending. So if you remember this formula, nominal base or nominal stem plus case ending results in a noun, right? This is the formula that you have to remember. And in terms of a verb, root plus conjugational sign, don't think about this much, about this one much, a conjugational sign plus case ending results in a verb. Okay, this is like an atom of a verb to which two things are added, case ending and a conjugational sign. Whereas in nominal base, only the case ending is added. Maybe I sound like repeating the same thing I mentioned earlier, but this is I think, is it clear for you, or is there anything that Bhante Maggagahari has to add?
Yeah, this is very, very clear, and things will get clearer more in the future courses. So we'll be satisfied with what you have given for us now. And also would like to add that some nouns, when we come into the word construction, sometimes nouns can be also made by roots. That is a completely different lesson that we have to study.
Yes.
So this is the very basic thing. So thank you very much, Bhante, for your lecture. It was a very wonderful one and clearly explained. And also thank you for all the participants who joined with us with the International Institute of Theravada. And we are planning to do this as a regular course, and we are planning to finish the 31 lessons of the new Pāli course written by A.P. Buddhadatta, which is the very basic book that specifically the monks in Sri Lanka study the Pāli. And it has shown its success, and it has been proven that it can be used as a very basic book to come into studies of Pāli. So we welcome you all in this journey to study this language in which the Buddha's teachings has been preserved for thousands of years, and it's specifically the Theravada tradition is basically based on Pāli language. So thank you very much, and we hope to see you in the next week. at this time. And yeah, so please, Bante may recite Buddha Sasanam Chirantittatu 3 times and conclude our lecture today.
Buddha Sasanam Chirang Titthatu, Buddha Sasanam Chirang Titthatu, Buddha Sasanam Chirang Titthatu, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Thank you.